Hello, my name's Julie Simpson. I'm the Managing Director of ResourceIT and I'm going to WPC. As you can tell by all my badges and paraphernalia, I have been before. One could class me as a veteran. I'm here at this beautiful country pub talking about WPC with two other people, one of which is a first-time attendee and one of which is a veteran. We're going to be discussing the reasons why we go, why we invest and how to make the most of your time. When you arrive, regardless of where you come from, you will get a conference guide. It tells you a layout of the conference centre, all the sessions that you should be attending, one of which is mine for budding, aspiring entrepreneurs and businesses in transition. So delighted to see you there. And remember, when you go to WPC, 90% of salespeople don't call back when they said they would. So when you get back to the office, make sure you follow through for all the people you met. One last tip for you, social media. Incorporate hashtag WPC or hashtag new to WPC in all of your communications. And I'll see you in Washington. So thanks very much, guys. Great to see you. If you just introduce yourself and, you guys have not met before, so quick introduction, who you are, company and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So, Alan Back, I'm the MD for Always On Group, which is two businesses, Always On, which I'll talk about in a minute, and DCG. DCG is a data management company. Always On is all around hosted link in that Microsoft collaboration space. So the reason we're going to WPC and the reason we want to go to WPC is our business, our hosted link business, all we're trying to do is sell that through channel, and channel only, 100%. So no direct at all.
Wow.
So we've got some channel partners already, but we're looking for more. We're looking for people that really want to engage with us, so that's why we're going. So anything you can help me in terms of achieving that would be great.
Perfect
Yes,
place.
that's ideal for you. So Martin Neale, I'm the Managing Director of ICS Solutions. I have been to every WPC there has ever been.
That's a badge of honour.
That is a badge of honour, even before they were calling it WPC.
Let me just at this point give you a gold medal for your outstanding contribution to WPC.
So yeah, I am the veteran. ICS Solutions, we provide professional services typically around SharePoint, Office 365 and Azure. And one of the key reasons we go to WPC is to be introduced to other partners in order to establish relationships where ICS has become the preferred partner for the provision of those services, and it's been extremely successful as a way of achieving that.
So you're doing what we want to do, basically. Or
Yeah.
You've done what we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Great.
I've got a perception of what WPC is. Laid out a load of cash for it, but I'd be interested in your view first of all. What is it? What is it? How would you describe it? What benefits can I derive from it? Just that would be the starter, I think, and we'll move on from there.
Martin?
Yeah, I think Microsoft essentially saves all its good information for one big brain dump, and that is WPC. So it's the one opportunity a year. All the product teams and everybody else seem to work to ensure that they've got material, they've got the new ideas around where they're going, their new messaging, new structures. So the first part of it is first and foremost Microsoft.
Yeah.
So you're going to get their top execs, and you're going to get a lot of attention and energy from them putting those materials together. The second side of it is you'll be there with 15,000 of your peers from all around the world, and for me, in terms of the value that we get from it, it's a little bit of both, really. The Microsoft product messaging, or the latest technologies and strategies, it's interesting to get my annual sheep dip into that, so that I kind of understand where the messaging that they'll be delivering to the outside world, the kind of things that they're formulating, because it will give you early insight into it. Often before some of the Microsoft employees themselves, who have their version of the internal staff-only version of that conference, is normally held 2 or 3 weeks after WPC.
Oh, is it? I didn't realise that. Okay.
Yeah. So you're often hearing it before they do. So you'll get the Microsoft piece, and from the partner perspective, then the benefit that we get, big benefit that we get, is the ability to network with other partners and to set up relationships. that that you can then spend more time on when you're having so many people in one place at one time with a structured networking is incredibly difficult, time-consuming to do it any other way.
So you said something in there that I'll pick on. You said so many people, and that's the other thing I've got in my head. Is sort of daunted by the prospect of, what did you say, 15,000 of my peers there. So there's this huge, great event in this big city that fortunately I've been to before but don't know that well. And I'm thinking, well, how do I orientate myself around it? What can I do beforehand to prepare myself and my colleagues so we get maximum value out of it, rather than just turning up off a plane and thinking, right, we're here at the conference, we'll go and speak to some people now.
Yeah.
Well, so for
or
you,
if they want to speak to us.
well, probably not.
Yeah.
For you, one of the first things is that they run a first-time attendee program. It's called the FTA program.
Right.
And there's an orientation session on Sunday where you can go to actually understand all of the elements that go towards WPC. So about the sessions, about the keynotes, about WPC Connect, about the Commons, the exhibition centre, stuff about transport, and there'll be a whole load of veterans like Martin and I, and a whole bunch of Microsoft people there specifically to answer questions for people that have never been before. So absolutely go to that orientation session and get a feel for what the opportunity is.
Okay.
And in terms of before you go, I would say WPC Connect. So the Connect tool, if you haven't already signed up for that, get yourself on there and profile your business in a way that is aligned to what you're trying to achieve. So however you describe yourself, whatever you say, think of that as your own little advertising portal. And WPC Connect, you can book meetings, you can search for the people that are going. So if there's specific partners you want to meet or Microsoft people you want to get an audience with, WPC Connect is the place to do that.
Okay, because I mean that's our objective primarily, is to get a bit of a sheep dip in Microsoft and understand where they're going, so hopefully we're getting the same or the right messaging in our propositions, but also to connect with partners that we can do business with. And it's a case of, I suppose, elaborating on that. How would I say to my people, let's make sure we can fill our diaries up before we arrive, so we know exactly what we're doing from Sunday afternoon through to whenever it is Thursday evening. How do we make sure that those diaries are filled and they're filled with the right people? Is that all through WPC Connect?
I think there's some of it through that, but I mean, Martin, as an exec like yourself, running a very successful Microsoft Cloud business, will do certain things while he is there, and having gone for 12, 13 years, I'm sure could share with you how you spend your time. You know, what do you do? What are the absolute must things that you do when you're there for Alan's benefit?
Yeah, so the first thing is we have been doing this for a long time. So this, in fact, is going to be the first WPC I've ever missed, or the first WPC.
But for good reasons. Having a baby, that's a good reason.
Having a baby. My baby is due.
Fantastic. First or second?
Fourth.
Oh, God.
And I couldn't swing it, unfortunately. Which is a shame, actually, because Washington is probably
Beautiful.
the nicest of the venues for WPC.
Right.
It's a fabulous venue. I think you're doing the right thing. I think you must treat it in that way, otherwise you will get there and not maximise the time. We treat it internally like a marketing project. So we start off by identifying what our objectives are this year specifically. And that will then allow you to target in on particular organisations that you want to partner with. The value to us of requested meetings through other parties are often less than the value of the meetings that we've identified that we want. So
good point. So do you get inundated with requests for meetings that actually are not that relevant, and the temptation is to accept those
exactly
because a partner's asked you?
Yeah.
So if someone invites you to a meeting,
yeah.
challenge them. Why are you asking me to do this? What, and absolutely
rather than just take everything because I've got a meeting. Great, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think if you're clear on your goals, as I'm sure you are, actually start off with who's going. Right.
Yeah.
So in previous years, we've used the tool that will essentially give you the list of attendees they have had different search criteria. So you can say just people in the UK. So that's where we start. So we get
sorry to interrupt. It might be a question maybe to you, Julia. When is that sort of fully populated with the attendee list? Because in my experience, again, not this type of event, but other events, it's not right up until sort of week X-1 that you suddenly find that's where everyone is, and you can only start booking meetings then. When does it get populated? Because it sounds like that's quite key.
So I think it is fair to say that a lot of people will leave their effort and time on WPC Connect until the last minute, which is absolutely a mistake. Because if you don't, by then you may have already got a full diary and meetings are booked up with those individuals. So the sooner you can get onto WPC Connect, the better. WPC Connect really is the tool that says, I'm up for meetings. You know, I'm going, I want to talk to people, I want to partner, I want to communicate. So there is no question that some people may register for WPC but not necessarily be on the Connect tool. So, you know, it's not mandatory that you're on there. But you know, obviously if you're going, why wouldn't you?
The other thing that we do is, in our activity where we're working out who we want to see and who we're targeting, is we will sometimes know who we want to target. We use the tool to actually facilitate the meeting because it's really efficient. They have a sea of meetings tables that are numbered, and you're basically booking up that table for a period of time. And it's also good because it won't allow you to book them in periods where there are keynotes or where there are the kind of mistakes that you would otherwise make, which is not so much a problem if you're making the meeting, but if you're the person who's being requested and you've had a request for something that clashes with, you know, the latest keynote or whatever, you won't want to miss it. And some of those meetings are, you know, you end up with just being really difficult to predict what you would have said if you looked at the list. Just said, I've not heard of them, I'm not going to. But actually, you have a fantastic meeting with them, you know, and they turn out to be relevant. So what we try to do is to start booking early, because what you want to know early is what those key slots are, and then we keep changing it right the way through. And we actually have someone on admin who continues to work on our diaries even whilst we're there. So if meetings fall out, then they're automatically getting rebooked and rebooked and rebooked, so that, you know, our time is maximised basically.
You know, the WPC Connect meetings usually are sort of 30-minute slots, aren't they? And you know, what I was saying to Alan was, I would go for 30 minutes and then probably a 15-minute break and then 30 minutes. I wouldn't be booking them 12 to 12:30, 12:30 to 1, 1 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2, because you've got to allow for a little bit of overrun, and also if somebody's late, and it might be someone really amazing that you're desperate to talk to, and if they don't get there till 10 past, you don't want to be going, right, I've got to go because, you know, I've got another one. So, you know, I would definitely leave a little bit of a gap. And the other good place to have meetings, you know, is the Microsoft lounges. So each of the countries have a specific country lounge. So the Microsoft UK, for example, will congregate in the UK lounge when they aren't doing anything else.
So it's a good place to loiter.
Absolutely fantastic place to be and to loiter and to ask them. You know, if you specifically want to meet someone and you don't know what they look like or who they are, then if you ask the WPC UK guys, they will, if they don't know, they'll find someone that does. And, you know, and they're there to help you have a really good conference. So you'll get one of these.
Just on the Microsoft execs, because clearly there's a theory that suggests it's worth getting some airtime with them, but clearly you don't want to waste their time, you don't want to waste your time as well. How do you work out which are the right execs to engage with? Because titles are misleading, clearly. It's what people do that's the important thing. How do you work that piece out as well, and how do you again book those meetings beforehand?
Martin?
Yeah, so your partner account manager will help you pre-book meetings with the exec. So speak to your partner account manager, and they will then essentially do a request on your behalf. So if you haven't been able to organise a meeting through the table, so the second best place to do it is definitely in the meetings lounge. As far as who you're targeting from Microsoft, you know, generally you have two opportunities. You have the opportunity during the day to meet up I find it a little easier if there has been an introduction.
Yeah.
And then there's events in the evening. So there is usually sort of a party, and there's a brief moment between arriving and everyone being too drunk to speak.
You got to have a good time.
There's an upside in that piece, though, actually. So the partner type meetings that you've had over the years, how well constructed are those meetings? I.e., so when you reach out to someone and say, I'd like to meet to you about X, Y, Z, do you tend to set an agenda? Do you tend to set... So they've got an expectation of what you're going to discuss and vice versa? How do you construct those?
Again, it obviously depends on who you're meeting, and 15 minutes or 20 minutes isn't a lot of time. What we typically do is organise something specific for WPC, so we tend to launch things at WPC. Okay. So you've got a nice, clear, focused thing to describe. But 15 minutes is enough time to see if there's any real level of interest, and if there is, and if it's hot, then you can go to the lounge if you're able
continue,
to meetings, or in the evenings.
I think that's the thing, it's there to sort of qualify, and then you will go on then and have, think of WPC absolutely as the introduction and the opportunity and springboard to kick off that relationship, and then you post WPC is when your activity happens, because you're never going to get everything out of that, that short half an hour or whatever.
Yeah, and I think you've got to think of those follow-on actions as well. That needs to be articulated at some point.
Yeah, I mean, our tactic tends to be have quite a lot of meetings, document them well during the session, because you might well end up with sort of 30 or 40 separate meetings, and then to follow them up effectively afterwards. Yeah, which you can only do if you've recorded it. As Julie says, if you're back-to-back solid for 4 days, then it's really difficult to have the time to record all the necessary information.
And the keynotes this year, I mean, Satya Nadella, so I'm fascinated by to see.
Yeah, that's going to be great, isn't it?
Taking over from Steve Ballmer and seeing kind of how the whole look and feel of it is different. Compared to the aggressive sales leader we have, Satya Nadella is a technologist, so and you must be at the keynotes. No
I think
question.
the other advice I would give is the way we tend to work, because we're focused on meeting, using it as a business opportunity to meet partners and to transact business, and that comes first and foremost. We tend to use the keynote sessions as the those are the things that we will be at the conference for. So we will attend all of the keynotes. There are slots where you can't book meetings through the tool, so you can't book a slot in the keynotes, for example.
Right.
We do definitely see business benefit from it. Last year we struck up a relationship with a new partner, and we're up to about $1.5 million in services pipeline as a result.
Off the back of that?
Directly.
So there you go. You talked
I was going to ask
you're
about
spending
ROI.
all this money.
Yeah. Where is it? I can't see it at the moment.
You do one, you get it right, and opportunities endless. And how long would it have taken you, do you think, to have got that meeting if you hadn't been at WPC and to have built that?
I just can't see that we would have replicated the circumstances. That that particular partner had their MD there, they had head of product there. We met up and maintained some of the contact from reasonably short meeting across the rest of the session.
Okay.
And used the UK Lounge, which is a great venue where everybody else ended up going back to. So it concreted it. So it would have been really hard to do that, I think.
Yeah.
My instinct tells me it would never happen.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's one decent meeting.
Exactly.
Pays for itself, doesn't it?
The sessions, I think Martin's absolutely right. I mean, I would always business first in that regard. But if you've got, like you have, moving into, a DCG and Always On, coming together as one organisation, building two propositions into one, to understand some of the sessions and the value that you can get from some of the most amazing speakers, to go and see some of those.
Such as yourself, Julie.
Pardon?
Such as yourself, Julie.
Well, just me. Just me. You haven't got one of these, have you?
No, we don't ever speak about it.
Some of the sessions, though, on cloud and enterprise social, and I mean, for you, big data.
Well, it is.
If you've got the worldwide lead for big data on, you want to be attending the session.
Yeah, well, I think we're still learning how we position our proposition. In truth, and we're all about selling, exactly like you, selling our services. So, hosted link, which is what we're all about, selling that through partners. We're trying to build our partner network and our channel network. So, we think we need to work with Julie actually on building the propositions. We think we've got that right. We need to probably hone, picking up some of your points, hone the articulation specifically for WPC, whether we can package it in some sort of launch or whatever.
Definitely.
And then we'll know who we want to. We pretty much know who we want to talk about, and we'll get some. Talk to. We want to talk about sales.
That would be a good start.
That would be a good start.
That would be a good start.
So I think we got the building blocks there. We just, in truth, we need to get the hard work done now and get some meetings done.
Definitely. So I think in summary for us, we're saying plan who you want to see before you go and get yourself a plan and think about the sessions. Look at the WPC Connect tool and see who's there and make sure you're maximising your time. And as Martin, as a veteran, has said, focus that on partner engagements. Absolutely the keynotes. Get yourself visible at the UK Lounge. You'll get one of these, which is a global guide.
Right.
So when you get your badge, you'll also get with a QR code on it, so you can scan each other's contact details. But have your business card. But anyway, you'll have this, so you can look at all the sessions when they're running. As Martin says, plug your gaps with the sessions, and most of all, your ROI. Why are you there?
Yeah, that's right.
How are you going to make money out of this?
All right. One last thing from me then. What don'ts? So we've done the do's.
Yeah.
What don't? Things to avoid, things not to do.
Well, don't get too drunk. A.
Yeah.
Don't ever go anywhere without business cards. B.
Yeah.
Or a handkerchief, as my mother used to say.
Don't miss the keynote. Do not miss the keynotes. And don't leave it till the last minute to get registered on WPC Connect. Would be for me.
Okay.
I think the only other thing that's not necessarily obvious is there's quite a lot of evening activities go on.
Yes. Okay.
So you need to be aware of when those evening things are, and plan your diaries around it, because typically you're having to leave at about sort of 6 o'clock or something to go onto these sessions, and speak to your partner account manager and get as much help and guidance from them as possible.
Yeah, great point.
And I guess travel light as well. If you're going from one thing to one thing, you don't want to be carrying huge, great
that's
laptop cases around and that sort of thing.
If you can, it's a bit easier for guys, but if you can, dress in the day in stuff that will work for the evening. That's your optimum sort of in terms of dress code, because as Martin says, sometimes you don't come out of the conference until 6:30. And then you're straight on for drinks or something like that. If you are comfortable, kind of with what you're wearing. People don't tend to wear suits, so sort of business casual, comfortable shoes, critical. Then it won't matter if you don't get the chance to go back to the hotel, get changed, and go out again. You kind of got it covered.
Yeah, and don't try breaking a new pair of shoes on.
Definitely, no new shoes. That is,
I've done enough event stands in my time to know that one. Actually,
so wear your stilettos in before you take. Thanks very much, guys. Fantastic.
No, good. Thank
luck.
you.
Have
Thanks
an
for the
amazing
tips.
session.
Yeah, brilliant.
Absolutely
All
welcome.
right, thanks. Yeah, good to meet you as well. Thanks.